I used to call him the mayor because, like you said, he knew everyone. I don't think there's enough words in the dictionary to describe Dan. You know, he was something to everyone. He told the ultimate Irish goodbye, you know.
People across the state are mourning the loss of Dan Nolan, who helped the community for so many years in so many different ways. The former Hartford firefighter and Army veteran died unexpectedly on March 1st. He was 61. Just last month, we profiled Dan Nolan for his relentless work to bring his Army interpreter to the U.S. from Afghanistan. Nolan's sister, Patsy, helps us remember her brother's impactful life of selflessness.
He is the GOAT. I'm sorry, Tom Brady. You know, Danny is the GOAT. He was a hero to so many. He was an angel on earth.
Hartford-born, Windsor-bred, Daniel C. Nolan was one of 6 children raised by Irish immigrants. A second-generation Hartford firefighter, Nolan served at Ground Zero following the 9/11 attack.
He always knew there was no question he was ever going to do anything else. You know, it was in his blood. Because what is being a firefighter? It's helping people.
Nolan also helped our country, serving in the Army National Guard. He was deployed overseas 3 times. Nolan recently explained to me how meaningful it was to get support from friends to help poverty-stricken kids in war-torn Afghanistan.
We'd meet these kids and give them a pair of shoes for the first time. And just, you know, seeing like a little Afghan girl blow bubbles for the first time in her life, it's such a magically gratifying.
He wanted to make sure he helped as many people as he could. Didn't matter who they were, didn't matter what country they were from. Danny just wanted to help people.
A devoted husband to his beloved wife Jill and loving stepfather to Bella, Nolan shared his time, talent, and treasure in countless ways. When it came to charitable causes, he was everywhere.
Danny fully grasped the concept of it's better to give than to receive. I think you'd be very hard-pressed to find somebody that didn't meet Danny that could say he didn't make me a better person.
I'm one of those people he inspired. I got to know Dan Nolan really well over the last few years, emceeing the LEAS Foundation Valentine's Ball for Leukemia Research. Dan served LEAS since its inception in the 90s, raising money, leading committees, and helping people with love, support, and kindness.
You could be going through the hardest thing in your life. Danny just had a way of making you feel like everything was going to be okay.
Nolan loved to fish and talk about the Hartford Whalers. He lived with some of the players in the 80s and even introduced former captain Kevin Dineen to his wife. We interviewed Nolan for our Whalers documentary.
None of them that I know of had an ego, just fit into the community like, you know, they were sewn into the fabric of the Hartford and surrounding towns.
You could say the same things about Dan Nolan. Patsy says Dan once paid off a veteran's bill for $14,000 when that vet's daughter was battling cancer. And Patsy recalls another time Dan anonymously mailed cash to a friend who was struggling.
And I never told her until Friday when I called her. And she was, you know, so devastated. She didn't know of all these years. He would do something like that.
And there were so many stories like that.
There's so many.
One of Nolan's greatest achievements was his 4.5-year mission to bring his interpreter and his family to the U.S. from Afghanistan. When I interviewed Nolan for that story this year, he shared one of the roots of his passion for helping others.
When you look back, my parents brought me up to realize that from the time you enter this earth to the time you depart, one of the most important things is that somewhere along the way that it made a difference that you lived.
He made such a difference.
And Kev, I know that throughout doing this story on Dan, which I've met a handful of times, he always made you feel like family, really and truly. You found out more and more and more about the things he did that people had no idea, which is incredible.
There's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, the 1 degree of Dan Nolan. He was everywhere. He was everyone's friend. He did things quietly. I think we'll find out more stories as the years go by. You know, when we did the Whalers documentary that came out last summer, he sent me and the team here a 2-page handwritten note, perfect penmanship, no typos, from the heart. I mean, who does that? And he also had a great sense of humor.
Right.
He loved to prank people. He got me and my wife, Christine, to join the Irish American Home Society in Glastonbury last fall. He says, let's play a prank on Christine. We're going to convince her that she has to learn Irish step in order to join the club. And Christine went right along with it with our friend Chris Young, and Van Young, me, and Dan are in the back, you know, videoing it, laughing. And then Dan's like, all right, Christine, it was all a joke. And we're like, no, it was good, Dan. You played it well.
Just a good person all around.
And I'm laughing now, but we'll all be crying at the services tomorrow and Saturday because we've met 1 million people in the community. He stands above. He was special.
We'll be right back.